Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. One more episode solo until Dylan's back on Thursday. We're just going to recap the weekend here quickly. In the American League, Boston and Detroit split a 4-game series. Baltimore took 2 of 3 from Tampa Bay. Minnesota took 2 of 3 from Houston. And the Seattle Mariners swept the Angels at home. In the NL, the New York Mets and the Arizona split a 4-game series. It was a winnable series for Arizona, trying to get back in that playoff race. Cincinnati took 2 of 3 from the Cubs. The Phillies took 2 of 3 from St. Louis. The Cardinals rallied late in last night on Sunday Night Baseball to salvage one game in that one. And Los Angeles Dodgers took 2 of 3 from the Rockies. It was a jam-packed interleague series, 7 matchups this past weekend. Toronto took 2 of 3 from Pittsburgh. Texas took 2 of 3 from Miami. The Brewers swept the Chicago White Sox. The Yankees swept the Giants. San Diego Padres take 2 of 3 from Kansas City. That was a really good series. Cleveland took 2 of 3 from Washington, and Atlanta took care of business, taking 2 of 3 from Oakland. So just to round out, really good bounce back week for Dylan and I. I went 10-3-2, and Dylan went 11-2-2. So really impressive weekend from Dylan there. Dylan's record is 143, 103, and 20. And I'm 149, 118. So Dylan, 7 games back. It was nice to see a weekend like this for predictions-wise after some subpar weeks for us. But, yeah, let's roll into this week's matchups. Starting in the AL, it's going to be Kansas City at Cleveland. It's going to be Lugo versus McKenzie, Singer versus To Be Determined, and To Be Determined versus To Be Determined. This was a kind of a tough series to predict. Cleveland, first place, battle of the 2 top teams in the AL Central. I'm going to go KC here, even though Cleveland has been hot as of late. Yeah, this should be a really good pitching matchup. It'll be interesting to see if Lively factors into this series or if Bybee factors into this series. That might change things a little bit, but overall, I like Kansas City's pitching better. Minnesota is at New York. It's going to be Ober versus Hill, Paddock versus Rodon, and Lopez versus Stroman. This should be a really good series as well. I'm going to go with the New York Yankees here. They're coming off of hitting a lot of home runs down in San Francisco. Aaron Judge, 14 home runs in the month of May. Just ridiculous numbers for him. He's hot right now. Soto's hitting tanks. I'm going to go with the Yankees here. Baltimore at Toronto for a 4-game set. It's going to be Rodriguez versus Gausman, Burns versus To Be Determined. That was supposed to be Alek Manoah's spot. Obviously, they could go a couple ways with that one. Could go a bullpen game. Yeah, not really sure what direction they're going to go there. Rodriguez is still hurt, so they can't call him back up. Yeah, he's still on the rehab assignment. Game 3, it's going to be Burns and Berrios and To Be Determined versus Yusei Kikuchi. Toronto, coming off back-to-back series wins for the first time since mid-April, albeit it was against the White Sox and pretty good Pittsburgh Pirates team. I'm going to go with the Jays here. I like the Jays pitching in this one. I like the Jays pitching in a lot of games that they play, but their offense has been better. Vlad Guerrero Jr. had his first start at third base since 2019 to keep Daniel Vogelback's bat in the lineup and Justin Turner's bat in the lineup. So it'd be interesting to see how long they go with something like that. Obviously not an ideal everyday defensive lineup. Your defense gets a lot worse with that lineup, but right now the Jays, they need to score runs. So any bat they can get in the lineup, that's what they're going to do. Like I said, I'm going to go to the Jays here. This series could be a split, but yeah, this is a big one for the Jays. Detroit at Texas. It's going to be Skubal versus Eovaldi, Flaherty versus To Be Determined, and Kenta Maeda versus To Be Determined. Detroit's been playing some better baseball as of late. It'll be interesting to see kind of what Texas team we get. Like I said in the previous video, Corey Seager is on a tear right now. It'll be interesting to see what Eovaldi looks like coming off of a long layoff from an injury. I'm going to go Texas here. Seattle is in Oakland at the Coliseum. It's going to be Kirby versus Spence, Gilbert versus Estes, and Wu versus JP Sears. Oakland, coming off of a series loss. I'm going to go Seattle here. Seattle's coming off of a sweep of the LA Angels. And, yeah, their pitching's been unbelievable. They're getting some timely hitting. I'm going to go the Mariners. In the NL, it's going to be the Dodgers at the Pirates. It's going to be Glasnow versus Jones, Paxton versus Skeens, and Buehler versus Falter. Pittsburgh's pitching matchups helps them here. You obviously got Jones and Skeens, your 1-2 punch. But this Dodgers lineup is a beast. Should be a good couple games there. Paxton's been really good. Been a pleasant surprise for this Dodgers team. One of the more underrated signings out of the 100 that they had this offseason. Yeah, I'm going to go the Dodgers here, though, but it wouldn't surprise me if Pittsburgh snuck one, maybe two in this series with the pitching that they got going here. Milwaukee at Philadelphia. This is going to be an interesting series. It's going to be to be determined versus Wheeler, to be determined versus Sanchez, and to be determined versus Nola. So Milwaukee doesn't have their pitching set. It'll be interesting to see where that falls. Obviously, when we record these, sometimes we don't know the matchups until obviously the video is out. But I'm going to go Milwaukee here. Their offense is one of the best in the league. We just did a contender or pretender video on the Brewers. Go check that one out if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm going to go with Milwaukee here. Cincinnati at Colorado. It's going to be Abbott versus Feltner, Frankie Montas versus Block, and Graham Ashcraft versus Dakota Hudson. I'm going to go Cincinnati here. Not much more to add, although it is in Coors, so some funky stuff could happen there. Could be a high-scoring series, I guess, but I'm going to go with the Reds. San Francisco at Arizona. It's going to be determined versus Nelson, Harrison versus Walton, and Hicks versus Montgomery. Arizona let one slip. They split a 4-game series with the Mets. That is a winnable series. That's a series you got to win if you're going to climb back into the playoff race. Interesting to see what we get from Arizona in this series. San Fran also coming off of a tough sweep at the hands of the Yankees. So both teams coming off series losses. I'm going to go Arizona here. Shifting over to the Interleague, 5 matchups. Interleague, there's 5 in the AL, 5 in the AL, and now 5 in the Interleague. So a little bit more balance this week. It's going to be San Diego versus the Angels. It's going to be Waldron versus Anderson, to be determined versus Sandoval, and Cease versus Soriano. I would give the edge pitching-wise, obviously, to the Padres here. Offensively, the edge goes to the Padres. Angels banged up, haven't been playing that good as of late. I'm going to go the San Diego Padres. Tampa Bay at Miami. It's going to be Pepio versus Luzardo, and to be determined versus to be determined. 2-game series in this interleague matchup. Miami, clear sellers, one of the worst teams in the league. I'm going to go the Rays. Up next is the White Sox versus Chicago. Crosstown rivals meeting for a 2-game series. It's going to be Flexen versus Imanaga and Fetty versus Jameson Taillon. Obviously, we all know how bad this White Sox team is. I am going to go the Chicago Cubs to get back on track, coming off of a series loss to the Cincinnati Reds. And yeah, Chicago should take this series. St. Louis is in Houston. It's going to be Gibson versus Verlander, Palante versus Arrighetti, and Mikolas versus Blanco. Blanco been decent since he's coming off that sticky suspension where he missed a couple starts. Mikolas and Gibson going here for St. Louis. I'm going to go Houston, but this might be one of the last times I take him because they have burned me a lot in the past. They're at home. It's now or never for this team. They got to get going. The only thing that Houston's got going for them is that nobody in the AL West has really taken off, which if a team got hot like the Yankees did or the Guardians did, I mean, they might be in a huge hole, but they're really not. It's still there for the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see kind of what they do this month. Some winnable games, but they got a few tough stretches in this series. We just came out with the Panic or Patience video for the Astros. Go check that one out if you haven't already. And to round out the Interleague, it is a 2-game series between the Atlanta Braves and the Boston Red Sox in Fenway. It's going to be Fried versus Cutter Crawford and Schwallenbach versus Nick Pivetta. I'm going to go Atlanta here, but it wouldn't surprise me if Boston won this series. They swing it well in Fenway. They're pretty banged up, though, so I'm going to go Atlanta here. So just to recap here quickly, I'm going with Kansas City, New York, Toronto, Texas, Seattle, the Dodgers, Brewers, Washington, Cincinnati, Arizona, San Diego, Tampa Bay, Chicago Cubs, Houston, and Atlanta. And Dylan is going with Kansas City, New York, Baltimore, Texas, Seattle, LA, Philadelphia, Washington, Cincinnati, San Francisco, San Diego, Tampa Bay, Chicago Cubs, Houston, and Atlanta. Like always, if you like this video, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.